first punch lands before I can finish saying, "Please, stop." It's 9:17 p.m. A quiet street. A flickering streetlight that buzzes and dies every few seconds like it can't decide whether to stay on. Dae-young doesn't look angry. He looks offended. Like I embarrassed him simply by trying to leave. Like my walking away was the real crime. "You think you can just walk away from me?" he spits. When I fall, he kicks my ribs. Somewhere across the street, someone gasps. But no one moves. No one steps forward. The world just watches. My vision blurs. The asphalt presses cold and rough against my cheek. The last thing I see before the darkness takes me is a black car idling at the curb and a man stepping out. I wake up in a hospital room that smells of antiseptic and recycled air. No broken bones. Just bruises blooming purple and deep across my ribs, my cheekbone, my left arm. The nurse tells me I was brought in around 10 o'clock. A man carried me in through the emergency entrance and paid every bill in cash. He left no name. He looked terrifying, she whispers, glancing at the door like she's still unsettled. But he held you like you were fragile. There is a card on the bedside table. Plain. White. Sharp black letters. Min-jae Kong. I pick it up with 2 fingers. I stare at it for a long time. Then I reach for my phone. Min-jae Kong is not simply wealthy. Every article I find treats his name carefully, like a word you say quietly in a crowded room. Business mogul on the surface. Board seats, charity galas, a tower in Gangnam with his name cut into the glass. But underneath, in the comment sections and the forums and the whispered profiles that get taken down, the story is different. Rumored ties to half of Seoul's underground operations. A man the police question but never charge. A name that makes other powerful men look at the floor. My phone buzzes. Unknown number. Are you safe? My heart slams against my bruised ribs. He saw everything. He was there the whole time. 2 days later, Dae-young comes to my apartment. No apology. He stands in my doorway looking clean and pressed, like nothing happened, like I imagined the asphalt against my cheek and the sound of my own breath getting knocked out of me. "You made me lose control," he says. Calm. Reasonable. Like he's explaining math. I feel the familiar pull of that logic. The way it used to make me question myself. I almost lean into it. Then I notice a black car parked across the street. Min-jae steps out. He crosses slowly, hands in his pockets. He doesn't look at Dae-jung with fury. He looks at him the way you look at something that has already been decided. "You will never speak to her again," he says. Dae-young laughs. That was the biggest mistake of his life. The next morning, Dae-young is trending. I see it first on Yun's phone when she comes to check on me, my colleague, the only person from work who actually showed up at the hospital. She holds the screen toward me without saying a word. Arrested for assault. Security footage leaked. The clip is everywhere. The streetlight. The punch. The kick to my ribs. My body going still on the asphalt. It is clear. Brutal. Undeniable. And I did not release it. Min-jae visits me that evening. He sits across from me without touching anything, hands resting on his knees. "I don't like men who mistake cruelty for power," he says simply. I know I should be afraid of him. I'm not. He offers me protection. Not a relationship. Not ownership. Not the kind of help that comes with a price tag attached. Just protection, a car nearby, a number to call, people who would notice if something went wrong. I say no immediately. I have spent 2 years being controlled by a man who called it love. I will not walk straight into the arms of another powerful man who has decided what I need. Min-jae nods once. He doesn't argue. Doesn't push. Then I'll protect you quietly, he says. You won't have to ask for it. He leaves. And I sit in my apartment in the dark for a long time, turning that sentence over in my mind. Why? The question won't leave me alone. Dae-young makes bail 4 days later. I find out from Yun, who calls me before I can see it online. By the time I check my phone, there are already 3 messages from numbers I don't recognize. Burner accounts. Short sentences with long silences hiding inside them. You'll regret this. I'll ruin everything you have. You think someone like him actually cares about you? Then my workplace starts receiving anonymous complaints. My manager calls me into his office looking uncomfortable, shuffling papers, not meeting my eyes. I sit in that office chair and feel the old fear crawling back up my spine like it never left. He is not done with me. And somewhere on a street below my building, a black car is parked and waiting. Dae-jung posts a video. Calm voice. Sad eyes. A story where I am the unstable one, the difficult one, the woman who pushed him past his limits. The internet is fast and hungry, and it does not wait for evidence. My name starts appearing in comment sections attached to words I won't repeat. That night, Kong Industries calls a press conference. Min Jae stands in front of cameras in a charcoal suit, his expression unreadable. He doesn't say my name. He doesn't mention Dae-jung directly. He announces a significant donation to domestic violence shelters across Seoul. Then, in a voice that carries no heat but all the weight of a closing door, he calls out men who prey on women they believe no one will defend. By morning, Dae-jung's company stock has collapsed. The message needed no translation. I go to him. Not because I need something. Because I have a question I cannot put down and I am tired of carrying it quietly. We sit in his office, a room that feels like controlled silence, and I ask him straight. Why me? That night. Why did you get out of that car? He is quiet for a long time. Then he tells me. He was 12 years old the first time he understood what helplessness looked like on a person's face. His mother. A man who called it discipline. A boy standing in a hallway who was too small to stop it. He swore something that night that he never broke. I didn't step out because you were special, he says. I stepped out because I couldn't look away. Something shifts in the air between us and doesn't shift back. I start digging. If Dae-jung posted that video to make me look unstable, I want to understand the whole picture. What I find takes my breath away slowly, like a leak rather than a flood. 2 women before me. 2 formal complaints filed. Both withdrawn. I read the case notes carefully. Intimidation. Private settlements. Fear that moved like a hand over a mouth. These women didn't lose courage. They were systematically silenced by a man who had practiced this long before he ever met me. I sit with that for an entire evening. I am not the first. I am not weak. I am not the exception to who he is. I am the one who didn't withdraw. And for the first time since the asphalt, I feel something harden inside me like bone. I file the formal case. Publicly. My full name attached. No anonymity, no quiet settlement, no disappearing into safety while he rebuilds his reputation. Min Jae meets with me the day before I submit the paperwork. He sits across the table and tells me it will be ugly. That the media will dig. That people will say things. That even with the footage, some will choose not to believe it. I know, I say. You don't have to do it this way, he says. I know that too, I say. But I'm done being quiet. Every time a woman goes quiet, he gets to keep going. Min Jae looks at me for a long moment. Then he nods once slowly. He doesn't try to talk me out of it again. Dae-jung makes one last move. Private photos, taken without my knowledge during the relationship, appear online. It is meant to shame me into silence. Meant to remind me what happens to women who speak. Min Jae's phone rings within minutes. I can see it in his assistant's face when she steps into the room. But before he can act, I pick up my own phone. I write a statement. Clear. Calm. No apology in it anywhere. I explain exactly what the photos are, exactly when they were taken, exactly what releasing them says about the man who sent them. I post it myself. The public turns within hours. 2 more women come forward that same evening, their own stories attached to their own names. Dae-jung's last weapon had become his confession. Court day arrives like any other morning. I put on a dark blazer. I drink my coffee standing at the window. I take the train instead of accepting the car Min Jae offered because I want to arrive on my own 2 feet and I want to feel every step of it. In the courtroom, Dae-jung tries to hold my gaze from across the room. The look he used to use. The one that said you belong to me and you know it. I don't look away. I just don't respond to it anymore. The footage plays. The streetlight. The punch. The kick. My body going still. He is sentenced. Not erased, held accountable. There is a difference, and that difference matters to me. As he is let out, he finally looks small. I don't feel hatred watching him go. I feel something quieter and more complete. I feel free. After the trial, Min-jae disappears. No messages. No black car outside my building. No unknown number checking if I am safe. The protection he had offered quietly, and kept quietly, simply stops, like a sound you didn't notice until the room goes silent. I wait a week before I admit to myself what I am feeling. I miss him. Not the safety of having someone powerful nearby. Not the comfort of knowing someone was watching. I miss him, the man who told me about a hallway he stood in at age 12. The man who nodded once when I said I was done being quiet. I call the number I still have saved. He answers on the second ring. You deserve peace, he says, before I can speak. My world is not peaceful. I go to him anyway. His headquarters. Daylight. No drama. I walk into that building on my own and I take the elevator to his floor and I sit across from him in that same room of controlled silence. No one saved me, I tell him. I need you to understand that. You gave me space and you stood where I could see you. But I filed the case. I wrote the statement. I walked into that courtroom. He watches me the way he always does, like he is reading something carefully. You're not someone to protect, he says finally. His voice is low and certain. You're someone to stand beside. The night he saw me broken on that asphalt, he thought he was stepping in for a victim. He didn't know he was watching the exact moment I decided to stop being one.